Hey, I'm Pops. Justified is back. For folks that are not familiar with the famous FX show, it's on for several years. Timothy Olyphant plays Rayland Givens. He's this federal officer that is a quick on the draw, quick tempered federal marshal. Uh, Season one was great. Season two and three, I think, were very, very strong. There's some good moments, and I think they're doing a great moment, even in the finale that I always enjoyed. And if you kind of like that neo-Western modern crime drama with some really, really good performances, Walton Goggins is fantastic in that series as Boyd, who is kind of like the antagonist. Um, well, we get like a relaunch, if you will, not even exactly a new season, sort of kind of like a new spin on a book that is not part of the Raylan Given stories by Elmore Leonard, but something else. But they have other things in the hopper that they can pull from. And I think what's interesting is this story kind of dusts off a property that they own. They got Elephant back. I I don't recognize anyone else that's back. I know that is actually Timothy Oliphant's daughter, Willa, character. It's actually played by the daughter, which is okay. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of Vivian Olyphant as an actress. She may be one of the weakest things, but why are we going to pile on a teenager? I don't, it's not her thing. So the premise is he's in Miami, which is a good callback to season one. That's where it all began back in the day with a great pilot episode. And then he ends up in this sort of like a road rage car crash on the surface, but it turns a little gritty. And then obviously, oh no, wait, there's a lot more to this story. And then we kind of flash forward slightly to Detroit, Michigan, where now we're in the middle of a court case, and he's a witness because the guy that he got into a confrontation with turns out to be he's into narcotics and all that. And you have sort of like court drama that's escalated around this judge, and the judge kind of a sleazy. Actually, almost everybody in the show appears to be pretty sleazy. The judge sleeps around. Somebody's trying to kill him. Then someone does kill him. Anyway, and you know how Raylan's reputation is. If you're familiar with the show, the bosses and everything are like he's as much of a hassle as he is a help. So they're more than happy to pawn him off on the Detroit police to help with this investigation and this situation that kind of unfolds. We're introduced to a new villain, or at least a new antagonist, if you will. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. Boyd Holbrook has done some good work. He basically is this character called Clement Mansell. He's quote the Oklahoma wild man, and I'm not sure he's a wild man. They're going for it, but I don't know. And then you just have a whole bunch of nondescript characters that are sort of like kind of dirty. We're not really sure where everybody is on things besides Raylan. So let's go through a little bit of footage with you just briefly, see what else jogs my mind. Um, they've dropped two episodes. I think episode one is significantly better than episode two. Episode one felt like the typical setup for a justified season. Episode two just kind of plodded along, and I really just kind of didn't care. And I'll get to a little bit more as we go along. If you don't want spoilers, we definitely don't want to get. You definitely will have to come back. Um, so this is them going in and they're doing this search. They've asked me to come along with because of these two guys that are tied to this bombing, this judge. And Raylan, of course, because of his background, he's the clever one of the group, and it leads to where these guys are as witnesses and how they're being handled. One of the better characters so far in the show is actually one of the detectives. His name is Norbert. Norbert is actually probably one of the better characters. He's kind of funny. He reminds me of like a no nonsense character that would be on like a Mayor of Kingstown or something. He's pretty good. The show at this point felt like a lot of showcasing Detroit itself. Like there's a lot of shots and a lot of stuff done just like showing off Detroit like it's actually like this great city. This is Norbert. No, sorry, this is not Norbert. This is the other guy, Wendell. So the two cops, this is the other one. He rides around with Raylan trying to do the investigation. I really like the two cops. I think they were really good. Um, he just kind of walks around with some swagger. There's not enough cowboy jokes. Usually there's more cowboy jokes with someone like Raylan walking around. But yeah, this is them getting in the car. There's like this rush in the Miami sequence of taking the daughter. She's going to go to like a summer camp, but of course they're in this little fender bender, which escalates into a mess. So they missed the deadline, and she's stuck, and now she's stuck in a hotel while he's kind of trapped dealing with this sort of like um, investigation that he's kind of caught up in. So then we're introduced to Clement Menzel. Now, I think the problem is they haven't really figured out his character. We don't have enough to go on quite yet. Yeah, so this is early on when he steals this car. There's like little things like this that are like it sets up to be interesting, but it doesn't really get that interesting. Like he just does things, but it's not. Boyd had this sort of like smart creepiness about him, but also you felt like it's the same. It was the same appeal as with like the Kingpin. You know they're violent and what they were capable of, but because they're always just reserved enough, um, the intimidation would be there. This guy is just an unhinged guy. He would just be like a sidekick or someone that Kingpin would hire. He's not really that interesting on his own. So, this guy, he's relevant. I'll say he's a regular character, right? Sandy, and Sweetie. So this is Sweetie. So Sweetie is the bar owner. The bar owner's dirty. Um, there's dirty people. Like the whole show is just got too many characters that are just I don't care. They're dirty, right? And this sequence went on way too long. They had this shot with the hotel because Raylan and the other detective were there, and the lead up and through the scene and after the scene, it's all about just watching Boyd Holbrook walk around trying to act like he's some guy. He's in his tidy whities. It really doesn't work in the way they think it's going to work. You know what I'm saying? Like it doesn't give you enough of anything that's going to make you work. You don't get like creepy vibes, you don't get really menacing vibes. You just get unhinged. Maybe that's what they're just going for is unhinged. Okay, so this is the DA. I don't even know her name. Wilder, Carolyn Wilder. She's dirty. So part of the reason I tell you that is because part of the show is Raylan figuring that out, like that she's actually in on the take too. Um, yeah. So this is when it comes to a head. So it comes to a head at the end of episode 2. Okay. So again, this is supposed to be the big spoiler of episode 2 is the fact that Clement connects at the hotel with Willa, pretends to be like a friend, and then you have sort of like this confrontation that keeps escalating and escalating. Joe puts his arm around her or whatever, and then you can see the Raylan look right about there. Yeah, that's when you start to see. This is why you watch Justified. You start to watch Justified for this. Now, what is weird is I'm shocked that they didn't do this scene with a person that he could shoot so he could just say his famous line about it was justified, because it seems like that is also missing from these first 2 episodes. Like this seemed like a perfect setup just because episode 2 felt very flat, and it's like it was very extended setup from the episode 1. So if we had a good cliffhanger, like a shooting, like we had another person or something else, and he could have hit, oh, it was justified, and especially because there's tension with all the other people, the DA and stuff like that. He could have shot somebody. I know they don't want to shoot their main guy, but and by the way, the trailer showed way too much. That's why I don't watch any of the trailers for this show. So this is like I'm only in like a minute and a half or so in this trailer. They showed way too much information in this trailer. So um it's so look, it's solid. It will be something I will try to keep up with the best I can. I can't guarantee that I'm going to be able to keep up. I know that Secret Invasion's ending, but then I have like a strange week coming up, but I think it's something I'm going to stick around, at least do shows. I'll see, expect maybe an episode where I do like, 3 and 4 together, or 5 and 6, whatever. I think there's probably going to be 6 or 8 episodes or whatever the season's going to be. Let me see if this says anything. It only says there's 2. It says 8. Okay, so there's gonna be 8. It will run through August, so that's not bad. For the rest of July and in through August, we're gonna do some Justified. That's fine. I don't know that this will motivate me to go back and watch the original series because the original series was had been around for quite a long time with 6 seasons. Yeah, I don't have it in me to do 78 episodes of Justified, but I enjoyed them. That's fine. So anyway, that's my take on it. If any of you are watching it, love to hear your thoughts. It's on FX. I will land on Hulu. I'm certain, but let's be honest, it's already out there. You can get it. Tell me if you like it. If you're a fan of Justified, if you thought that this was a good sort of representation of the Justified universe and all that. It felt. Let's see. My assessment is this: episode 1 I thought was fine. Episode 2 was very flat. I wish that the conflict would have resulted in some sort of shooting. To the famous phrase. Um, the world that they're going for feels very small. I know that seems silly when you think about what the Kentucky thing was and everything that they had done before with the city and kind of like it was a very interesting little element there with Harlan County in Kentucky. But I don't know, there's something that felt like they could do anything. With this, it's like Detroit street crime and drugs and whatever. It just feels just whatever. There's a million crime shows that deal with that type of stuff. Whereas with the Appalachian drug ring and what Boyd brought to the show and things like that, I thought that I don't know, it felt more interesting and definitely more dynamic than the first 2 episodes of this. But maybe you disagree. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. Take care, everybody. Talk to you soon.
Right? And I'm not playing